Welcome to Layer of the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, 5 songs from 5 classic rock bands that are dark, heavy in attitude, heavy in vibe, have a certain intensity to them, maybe a heavy metal like attitude, but none of these bands are heavy metal. These are all classic rock bands. So let's get started. First, from 1975, from the album Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, the song Welcome to the Machine. Now, I could have picked a lot of Pink Floyd songs because Pink Floyd has a lot of atmospheric, dark, creepy sounding songs, even some songs with some kind of heavy riffs. I could have done Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun or the Nile song, but I went with Welcome to the Machine because it's so just epic sounding with the robotic, creepy robotic sound effects. There isn't really any kind of steady rhythm in it. It's just that sort of pulsating robotic sound that carries the song through. David Gilmour, his vocals are kind of just desperate and haunting vocals. You know, the lines, "You bought a guitar to punish your ma," or "It's all right, son, we know where you've been." You know, there's this paranoid vibe over the song, which runs through a lot of Pink Floyd stuff, that paranoid nature. You know, I attribute that to Roger Waters. But the way the keyboards come in, and it's a super long song, the guitar playing these open string dissonant chords, just fantastic song. Okay, next. From 1967, the self-titled album by The Doors, and the song is The End. Now, recently on Facebook, someone said, name a song that you hear that always reminds you of a movie. And I put The End, and it always reminds me of one of my favorite movies of all time, Apocalypse Now. If you haven't seen that movie, check it out. If there's a movie with a dark vibe, heavy metal vibe to it, that would be it. The movie opens up with that song, and it's super creepy, and the sound of slowed down helicopters, Vietnam era helicopters, super creepy. This song is really long for its time, at 11 minutes. Starts off with this arpeggiated minor chord guitar. There's just a tambourine keeping the rhythm in the beginning. Jim's lyrics are scary and this is the end, my only friend, fatalistic sounding. The song eventually starts to gradually pick up speed. The drums come in, and the drums are really reverbed out, and there's these big kind of tom fills with all the reverb that just add to the creepy vibe. Then the song really starts picking up speed where Jim starts talking about killing his parents, and eventually the song just ends in a big crash at the end where it's all over. So, The End from The Doors, 1967. Next, I picked from 1974, from the album Sheer Heart Attack by Queen, the song Stone Cold Crazy. The guitar riff, first of all, Brian May is one of my favorite guitar players of all time. And his guitar sound in this is really heavy. I mean, this is a metal guitar sound. If you don't believe me, Metallica covered this song, and I would put my money on the Queen version being heavier than the Metallica version. Brian's guitar is really heavy, and he's got this quick staccato riff that drops out, and everything drops out, and Freddie is spitting out these really fast lyrics. you know, the song, when it goes into the guitar solo, it modulates up and Brian is just ripping it up. So a short, just burning song from the beginning to the end. Really cool to hear Queen do something like that. I almost picked the song Sheer Heart Attack, which is actually not on this record. It's on News of the World. But Sheer Heart Attack for me has a more of a punky vibe to it. So I went with Stone Cold Crazy because it's just barbaric and quick and fast, almost like a thrash metal or speed metal song. All right, next, maybe a surprise for some people, but from 1969, the album is Abbey Road, the Beatles, and the song is I Want You, She's So Heavy. Now, the Beatles, one of the greatest bands of all time. And this, I could have gone with Helter Skelter, but I picked this song because it's so dark and creepy sounding. And also, just for that riff at the end. I mean, that is a heavy metal riff, kids, in 1969. That is a heavy riff. In fact, when I heard Dio's Shame on the Night off of his first album, the end of that song, the riff, the ascending minor riff he plays at the end, I immediately thought of I Want You, She's So Heavy, because it sounds just like that riff. This has got to be George Harrison's heaviest guitar sound at the end. All these guitars come in and get super distorted and get super big and creepy. And then it's contrasted with the beginning of the song where the verse is kind of like a blues and the bass is doing like this walking thing. And then all of a sudden, after the verses, it drops down and there's all these weird bass fills. And then it gets light again and goes back to the verse. So just a fantastic song from one of the greatest bands of all time. Okay, the last song that I picked is from Aerosmith. The album is Draw the Line, and the song is Kings and Queens. This is a heavy song. Some metal band out there had to have covered this or should cover this. It checks off all the boxes for metal attitude. You've got lyrics about maidens, knights, and Vikings. The end of the song where Steven Tyler's just wailing, screams of no reply, guillotines. It's got a arpeggiated kind of riff, weird riff, and then it gets super heavy, picks up speed at the end. It's just a super epic, dramatic song. All right, so there you go. Those are 5 songs from 5 classic rock bands that I would not say are heavy metal bands, but that have the songs that I mentioned, that are dark and heavy metal in attitude. So you let me know in the comments what you thought of my picks. Let me know some songs that you think from classic rock bands or bands that you normally wouldn't associate with being heavy, and maybe they do have a heavy song. Let me know what you think. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And in the meantime, we'll see you next time. Stay heavy, stay metal.